It would eat me if it could.
Mm-hmm. Want a carpet to throw over?
I'll have to put the catch pole on her.
Mm-hmm.
No, we can't shoot them, unfortunately. I'd love to.
They
They won't let us shoot them.
They won't let you shoot them?
Nope.
So how are you supposed to kill them?
Well, that's kind of what I'm going to talk about on the video. That's what
Clubbing them is inhumane.
it is, partly, yes. And then trying to strangle them with a catch is inhumane.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why I'm videotaping it, so I can tell people that.
Shooting would be easier. Just a
Yep,
simple
shooting
bullet in
them.
the head.
Shooting them would be the way of it.
That one ought to be easy to catch. Maybe.
Okay, we got a small fisher here. Very mean fisher. But he's in the trap and he's to dispatch these. We can't shoot them in Wisconsin. So we have to dispatch them by other means, which is not pretty. But unfortunately, the Wisconsin law book says that we can't shoot them, which would be the most humane way to kill them, dispatch them. I can't even pull this pole away. He's got those claws buried in there. There's a little rib on the head, looks like a dolphin fin on the top of their head. So when you try to hit them on the head to put them down, they don't go down. We cannot shoot them and humanely put them down right away. They got really sharp, needle sharp claws. Their teeth are ridiculous. They'll bite at anything. And you can see I'm just holding them with this cable. I'm not choking them or anything. I'm just talking to you right now, and I want to keep control of him so he doesn't jump at me. I could let this animal go and then come back and try to get a bigger fisher later in the season, which I'm contemplating right now doing that very thing. And the hide's not worth anything till the middle of November, and whether or not I can get this trap off him without getting clawed is a whole nother ball game. So if he scratches me or bites me, then I'm going through the rabies shots, and I'm not all about that this year. So nice little fisher, looks like a little female, but she's not near prime. You can see these long hairs on the fisher are called guard hairs, and what we're looking for primeness is the underfur, and the underfur is not prime yet. I'd probably get about $35, $40 for this one, and that's just not going to cut it. So I'm going to go ahead and release her. Now, I'm just controlling her head. I'm not doing anything bad to her. I got to get my hands over here to get the trap off. Okay, so now the animal is completely out of the trap. I'm going to check the leg. Okay, I'm going to drag her out of here and release her. Okay, this is what happened with this fisher release. Obviously it didn't happen, and I'll tell you why. I had a couple of guys here, landowners were here. Got access on his land. Very nice of them to let me trap out here. This is what happened. This fisher twisted so hard in that trap early before we got here, and I didn't notice it, but it must have climbed up on the side of that tree and maybe fell the wrong way, and it broke its leg. Very uncommon to see that, unless something happens goofy like that, and that's probably what happened. got up on that tree, and the weight of the trap and the way he twisted around really vigorously must have broken the leg. So when I had the catch pole on the fisher to release it, before I released it, I checked everything, and I watched, and I saw that foot flopping a bit. So that wasn't acceptable. I was not going to let it go with a broken leg. Now, it contradicts everything we talk about in modern trapping with the fact that we have a broken bone here. But again, it's not very common. It just happened to be a freak circumstance. And I am not, again, going to release an animal into the wild with a broken leg. It's just not, it's not ethical, okay? I know this pelt isn't worth a lot of money, if anything, really, because there's not a lot of under fur yet. They're very early. Again, end of October, November 15th and on is probably a good time to be getting them. I do have a legal tag for it. I was awarded one this season, and I chose to go ahead and use that tag and harvest this little girl here. Again, she's not prime, but it is a fisher, and I did the right thing, I believe, by not releasing it. Obviously, it's not even a question. It's the only thing to do. It's the right thing to do. By releasing her with a broken leg would just be actually something stupid. Now, we're supposed to tag between the lip and the eye on the fisher in Wisconsin. We also have a skull tag. When we skin this, we have to bring the skull in and the hide in to show them that we had indeed harvested a fisher. We have to call it in within 24 hours, so I'm going to do that when I get to the truck here. Call that in and let them know that I did get a fisher. They're going to put that on as part of the quota. I'm going to start resetting this trap while we're talking here. They're going to put that on as part of the quota. So this will be one of the numbers that they're going to take into consideration for when they may or may not close this. And there's a good chance they'll close it if we get any more than what their quota numbers are. They'll close it long before the middle of November is my guess. This closing early stuff is, I don't appreciate any of that, and I'm sure a lot of other trappers will not appreciate it. They have their reasons, I guess. What they are, I don't know. But if you get a tag, you should be able to fill that tag, especially if you're awarded one. And it makes more sense to me that if you're awarded a tag after 2 or 3 years of waiting, you certainly should be able to fulfill that tag and fulfill the obligation of getting the tag, and there should be no quotas for a called-in season early. Now, by saying that, I believe it should be the same thing with the wolves. We had if you remember seeing the video on releasing the wolf that I did here, the season lasted less than 4 days. Less than 4 days, you are no longer able to take a wolf. So all the people, the men and women that bought tags, hoping that they could wait until their prime, which is long ways from right now. We're in October, and those hides aren't worth a darn thing. But because so many were caught, they closed the season early. So all these people with tags have to eat them. Eat the tags. In other words, take them home and put them in a pot, cook them up and eat them, because that's all they're getting. Now, of course, we're not going to be using the excuse or the reasoning that wolf are good eating, because I don't think they are. I've never tried one. I've never heard of anybody eating them. So that's not the argument. The argument is that when you wait to get a tag, and it costs $10 a year to apply, So you got that expense. You get maybe 2, 3 years in. Some are 1 year. Some maybe 10. Then you buy the tag, and then you're forced to trap them very early, just like this fisher. That's wrong. In my opinion, that is wrong. That's something that we have to change as a group, as trappers, as hunters. We have to start voicing these opinions on why things just don't make sense. And they just implemented this call-in quota on the fisher this year. It's ridiculous. If they're going to call in on a quota, then you have to make a plan to only issue the amount of tags that you need to fill that quota. So what they do is they'll take a percentage of the tags, let's say applicants. I'm just going to throw numbers out there. I'm not saying these are accurate at all. I'm just going to throw them out there. You get 2,000 people applying for a tag. Okay, let's take 2,000. Then they're going to issue 200, and I'm using percents now. I'm just throwing these numbers out. They're going to give 200 tags out, hoping to catch 40 animals. If those 40 animals are caught within the first week, those other 160 tags, they eat them. You can't use them. So if you're going to make it so that you have a quota call-in, then what has to be done is you just give out 40 tags. And those 40 individuals get their fisher regardless of the season. Once the season's over, then you can deal with the fact that maybe not everybody got those. Or you go with 80 instead of 200, but everybody has the same opportunity to go through the entire season when they're prime, when the pelts are worth something, in case of incidental catches, when individuals have tags. All these things can happen if they just give out the amount of tags that, and then take that chance that maybe you did get 80 of them taken. It's 40 more than you planned on. Well, then next year, give out 60 tags or 50 tags or figure it out, but don't give out 200 tags and have 40 animals being caught and then make 160 people eat their tags. That is wrong. And it's also creating a problem with the pelts not being prime. When we go to the fur buyer, they're not going to want these pelts. They're not prime. They're no good for anything. So what it is a race to catch something. And it's just ridiculous. I'm so against it. I got to get my sifter and my trawl. That's how against it I am. So anyway, back to the story. Yeah, when this quota is done, it's done. And I don't know where we're at in it right now. We're only in the 4th day of trapping, 4 days. And that quota might last until December. I don't know. But because I'm trapping coyotes, and I got one fisher set out early because I didn't want to eat a tag, I'm guilty right along with the rest of them. Rest of who? Well, that's a good question because I just thought of that when I said that. I'm speed trapping. I'm trying to not have to eat my tag. But what it did is it forced me to take an animal that I didn't really want yet. And yes, I can release it. I actually called the warden and yeah, you can release it. No problem. Which that was my intention. Go ahead and release it. Wait until they start to prime up and then make another attempt to get another fisher. But because that leg was broken, I was forced to take it. Okay, and it's just all wrong no matter how you look at it. I just don't see the sense in it, and I actually feel a little bad because what I was going to do is release this fisher, and then in the case that I didn't get a fisher this year after this, at least I got it on videotape. Say, yeah, I could have called in a fisher, but I didn't because it was too small. Okay, and that was my intention. That's what I was gonna do. Just say, yeah, I got a fisher, but I didn't get anything for the hide because I didn't keep it because it wasn't prime yet. So that's where we're at. We got to tag them. We got to keep them, even if they're not worth anything. It's just ridiculous. It's stupid. But who am I? I'm just one man trying to enjoy a little trapping. I don't like the way we have to dispatch them. I'm totally against that. Not being able to shoot them. It's very, very humane. A bullet takes literally a second. Everything's over. They don't have to suffer. They don't have to bounce around. You don't have to suffocate them. You don't have to pound them on the head. It's just ridiculous. So you're going to hear a lot of that from me as we go through these programs. Personal opinion. So this trap is reset. I'm going to set it up here a little bit, put the fisher in the truck, and head her home. So, come on, girl. I know.